This story is about how an LSD trip gave me a career, I guess. So this took place when I was 18 years old, and I have to start it on how I think it's kind of crazy how I ended up in this situation. But at 18 years old, a natural disaster had taken our house. So I ended up, I wasn't really keen on being home anyway. So I ended up moving in a van. This is way back in the day before van life, but I had a van, and I ended up staying in this van in a park across the street from where one of my buddies lived. So I could always just kind of like wake up and use the hose to brush my teeth, or if I had to use the bathroom. I say he, but it was him and his family, so I couldn't really like stay there, but I can go over there and maybe use the bathroom or stuff like that. So, but anyways, during this time, another friend of mine, this story really starts when he says, I'm gonna go to Costco, and I go with him. Now, I'm 18, I'm like 100 and like maybe 30 pounds soaking wet. I'm basically like I'm over 6 feet, but I didn't weigh very much. So I was super tall and skinny. And at the time, I wear a lot of baggy clothes to try to fill out my frame a little bit. And so we end up going to Costco, and Costco's crazy. This is a long ass time ago, but I'm sure Costco's still pretty wild these days. It's just they have all kinds of stuff in there. It's wild. And so I come across a Pink Floyd box set. Now, this is not a box set that's like a little cube of a bunch of CDs. No, there was like a book. The thing was huge. It was huge. It had to be maybe, 12 to 14 inches by 11 inches, maybe. It was big and thick, so it was maybe about 5 inches thick. So the thing was big. It was that huge, if you're old, like it's a big encyclopedia. And I was like, I fucking want this. Because over the last few months, I had started dabbling, in maybe smoking weed and tripping acid here and there. And at one of my, acquaintances' friend's house, he had a Pink Floyd album, and it looked cool. Just the cover looked cool. So I was like, well, what's this? But he didn't put it on, and I had heard whatever Pink Floyd was on the radio at the time. You know what I mean? I just knew, like, hey man, this is a good band. It was cool looking too. It was black, and then it had a single, like, woman floating above, like, the water, like if she just kind of came out of the water. It was cool. Anyways, I made a decision. I was like, me, I'm gonna take this, you know what I mean? I was like, I want this. It was at the time over $100, and it was a long time ago, so it was a lot of money. I wish I could do, I don't want to give my age away too much, but it was a lot of money. I think $100 is still a lot of money today, but back then it was like crazy. And so I basically take this box set and I walk down, they have these huge aisles. And I happen to be fortunate enough, again, since I'm so thin and skinny, my pants don't fit me. And so I'm like, if I loosen my belt all the way, these pants, I was able to fit that box set in my pants. And basically, the top of the box set basically came to the bottom of my rib cage. I was able to get it right above like my penis, and so the top of my the bottom of my rib cage, where my rib cage started. So I had to suck in my stomach a lot. It wasn't a big stomach, but I had to suck it in to try to get it like flat, so it looked like just a flat front, which was like almost impossible, dude, because the thing was like as wide as my hips, almost. Again, I had like baggy clothes, like I think I had a baggy flannel on, and I got to my friend. I think I was like, dude, how's this look? He's like, I don't know, man, and I was like, shit. Now by this point, I had went up front to meet him. He was in line. Man, I felt all, every time I looked around, people were looking at me. I felt like, is this like security? I might have been a weird looking dude anyway, but, so we're in line, and I'm like, they know. They know they have to know. This looks probably so weird. They know something's up. I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just like, bro, just go back and put it back. My mind went a little bit like, just hang in there, man. Just be cool. Be cool, man, and hang in there. So we get up to the register. He's paying for his shit. And I'm looking nervous as hell. I got no poker face, you know what I'm saying? And if anybody's ever stolen anything, they get you on the way out. You know what I mean? Like they want to make sure that you're intending to steal it. You don't like throw it right back into the store right at the last second, So I knew that was the threshold that I had to pass. Then my heart was beating faster and faster as it got closer to that door, I was like, here it comes. If it's coming now. Then we walk through the door, and now I'm in the parking lot. Like just fresh into the parking lot, like right there. His car's still like down a row, And I'm like, oh shit. Expecting just someone to grab me on the shoulders, I'm waiting for that hand to grab me. He unlocks his car. Man, I get in, and I'm telling you, we lock the doors. I'm like, get in, boom, lock the door. I look around, nothing. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, it was a huge, huge relief, obviously, that I have got that thing that I wanted it, and then I had gone away with it. We, I don't know if it was that night, but like we end up grabbing some LSD, some acid, and this is back in the day, the acid was real good. Like real, I don't know what it is now. It's weird to say that because like I just assume everything's shit now. Not like drugs unless like a drug comes to her, but just like everything these days, you just can't get. Everything's a scam. Everybody's a grifter, so I don't know about now, but back then, the acid was good. David had like liquid acid that they would put in sugar cubes and stuff. That was the best you could get. Anyways, for the sake of the story, I'm just gonna cut it up where it gets interesting, I guess. So we're in the van, and during this time in the van, I had like scrounged up enough money to put speakers, and I kind of made a little bit of like surround sound speakers in the van hung from the ceiling. So I was, we were primed and ready for this experience. And we turned on, now I'm tripping at this point. It sounds like I'm coming up, like this is it, and we put on Wish You Were Here, right? The album. Never heard it before. Obviously, like a couple songs might have been on the radio, but if you know that album, the first song, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Part 1, it's just incredible. I'm getting freaking goosebumps right now, even just talking about it. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat or the passenger seat of the van, just sitting there listening to it, and as this album starts, like I could see it. It's hard to explain. If you've ever done acid before, it's like you're seeing things, but it's like they're kind of distorted, but you're never, it's like your mind isn't making, it's basically like I'm seeing in my mind, but I'm seeing it. It's hard to explain. It's real hard to explain. But I'm seeing, this is the music, and I'm seeing like the mechanics of it. In my mind, I saw like basically a body, like a human body being born, or being created, really, okay? And but I saw like the skeletal system. I saw like the nervous system being like, okay, that's what that does. And then you got the veins and the arteries and the skin. And it was just a whole layering process, if you will, you know? But in the beginning, yeah, I was like, okay, they're cutting into our like real world, if you will. And I love Pink Floyd, but I'm not like a super like, oh my God, Pink Floyd's like, you know, I mean, secretly, maybe I am saying that, but it's like you go into like, have you ever been in a dirty old lake or something and there's shit on the top of water and you just kind of clear it away? And it's like you're prepping to go in this water. And it's like, that's what they do. It's like either they toss you in the water or they start to clear away. It's like setting up the atmosphere for what's about to happen. And already they set a mood. And they set a mood to be like, all right, keep your hands in the vehicle. You know what I mean? Like it's like, all right, we're going somewhere. We're going to do something. Sit down, make sure your lap belt's strapped. Yeah, so basically, as that song was playing, that whole album, my mind is just sitting there looking at how these guys create music, how they just like layer things, how they take turns telling a story, but telling it not only with the words, but also with the instruments. And it's just a huge, it's an experience, you know. And obviously, you know, in that state of mind, it was for the first time ever hearing it, really ever hearing music like that. I was like, oh man, I couldn't believe it. At the end of the album, oh man, I was just like blown away, I guess. I remember telling my buddy, bro, I love you, man. And he just started laughing. He's just laughing, dude. I was like, man, this is awesome. But going back to how that turned into a career, so I don't want to give too much. This is where it's like I don't want to give too much away because I want to try the privacy is a big deal to me. But maybe because I've done so many people like shitty in my life that I just don't want it coming back to me. But later in life, I end up in film school. I got a lot of shit out of my system, if you will. Like I've done the partying. I've done like a lot of crazy stuff at this point. And now all I want to do is like get this feeling out. Get this desire to create things and to create moments and like recreate basically what I saw in the acid trip. And when I got out of film school, I became a video editor. Did some films, nothing crazy. And I ended up just becoming, I guess, a video editor for whoever, basically, freelance, commercials, whatever, doesn't matter. But the point of this is that all I've been doing my entire career, video editing, is recreating what I saw in that acid trip. I'm setting the stage or creating an atmosphere, you know, knowing when to put the loop-de-loops, you know, knowing when to get it, make it scary, and then come out, you know, and you're okay. You know, basically rebuilding what I saw on that acid trip. It's a blueprint. It's just tattooed in my brain. So I'm not condoning doing drugs at all, but I'm just giving you my experience.